Hey Fundraiser, I'm Mary Petersen, and this is Hey Fundraiser, the podcast for development professionals who are done guessing and ready to build a major gift program that actually works. Every week, I bring you the tactics, the language, and the real-world strategy to close bigger gifts, deepen donor relationships, and lead with confidence. Whether you're a one-person shop or a seasoned major gift officer, if you're ready to stop hoping and start engineering, you're in the right place. Let's get into it. Hey Fundraiser. Today's episode is for the executive director who is doing absolutely everything. You are managing the board, you're overseeing programs, reviewing the budget, solving staff conundrums, you're prepping for the next grant deadline, the next event, the next board meeting, the next crisis, frankly, that somehow lands on your desk. And somewhere in the middle of all that, like your board has told you that, you really need a major gift program. And they're right. Major gifts could transform your organization. Major gifts bring in large gifts, unrestricted revenue. It creates greater sustainability. And frankly, it gives you the headspace to kind of plan, like be proactive instead of like constantly reacting. But let's be honest, you don't have 40 hours a week to focus on major gifts. You might have 4, maybe 6. I mean, on a particularly good week, you might even have 8, which is crazy. But today, I want to talk to you about what you should actually do in those hours. Not what a large development department would do, not what an organization with 3 major gift officers, the prospect researcher, and a dedicated stewardship officer would do. What you should do as the executive director, the chief fundraiser, the board wrangler, the budget watcher, the program champion, and like the person who knows where all the extra folding chairs are stored. And just as importantly, I want to talk to you today about what you should ignore altogether and not spend any of your time on. Because you can't do everything. And trying to do everything is often exactly what keeps small organizations from doing meaningful major gifts. So let's start with the truth. You do not need a sophisticated major gift program. You need a focused program. You don't need hundreds of prospects. You need a small number of people who have the capacity to make a meaningful gift and a genuine reason to care about your mission. You don't need a 12-month cultivation calendar for every person in your database. You need to know who your best prospects are, what matters to them, and what the next step you're going to take is with them. And you do not need to become a full-time fundraiser. You need to become consistent enough in your fundraising that your major gift work does not disappear every time something urgent pops up. So those are the goals. The goal is not perfection. It's not even complexity. It's really consistency. The first thing you have to do is stop treating every donor the same. So when your time is limited, your first job is not to do more. It's really to narrow the field. Like too many executive directors are trying to maintain relationships with like 50 or 80 donors at the same time. That is absolutely impossible. Like that's impossible for a full-time fundraiser who has a portfolio of 150 people. You cannot personally cultivate everyone. You cannot meet with everyone. You cannot send deeply personal updates to every single person individually, and you shouldn't really try. Your first step is to identify your top 10 to 20 major gift prospects. That's it. Not 75, not 50, 10 to 20. And these are people who are going to meet 2 basic criteria. One, they have the financial capacity to make a significant gift. 2, they've demonstrated an interest in your mission or your organization or the problem that you're working to solve. You need both of those because capacity without the interest is just like a list of wealthy people. And you'll just burn out not getting anywhere with those people. Then if you have interest without capacity, you are creating amazing volunteers and ambassadors and annual donors, But these are just not your major gift prospects. I mean, they may be easy meetings, they may be your biggest fans, but to be on your top 10 to 20, they have to have capacity, they have to have interest. So your best prospects sit at that intersection. And please, executive director, please do not start chasing just wealthy strangers. Like begin with people who already care, like who has already given consistently, who recently increased their giving, like who attend your events or ask you thoughtful questions, or maybe people who introduced people to your organization, or maybe people who have volunteered or serve on the board. Like who responds when you reach out? Who has told you that the mission is like personal to them? Those are the people you want to look at first. And here is the thing you want to ignore altogether. Ignore the pressure to build like a massive prospect list. A list of 150 names does not make you more strategic. It simply gives you 150 people to feel guilty about not contacting. So when you have, let's just say 4 to 8 hours a week, a giant prospect list kind of becomes a hiding space. You can spend hours updating spreadsheets, assigning the ratings, like sorting names and moving people into categories and convincing yourself that you're building a major gift program. But none of that really matters if you're not talking to donors. And is the best use of your time. A smaller list really forces clarity. So, who are the top 10 to 20 people who can make the biggest difference in your finances? Who needs a call? Who needs a meeting? Who needs follow up? Who do you feel like is ready for a deeper conversation? And who might be ready for an ask? Like that's your people. Those are your best prospects. Everyone else can continue receiving regular organizational communications and the regular annual giving things and the regular stewardship. And you're not ignoring them as donors. You're simply deciding who requires your personal time and attention as executive director. Now, once you've identified, like your top 10 to 20, I want you to build your major gift time around 3 things. Oh, by the way, something important. The reason I'm saying 10 to 20 and not 40 to 50 is because for the last 10 years, I've been studying 1,000 major gift officers across the United States. Like, how do they spend their time? What do they do? And these are very successful shops. Like, to be part of the study, you have to have at least 6 gift officers. You have to have revenue of at least $10 million. There's all these criteria. Well, after studying them for 10 years, what I have learned is that full-time major gift officers only close between 15 and 20 major gifts every year. So you don't need to work a list of 150. You need to work a list of your top 20, because the full-time major gift officers, they are spending a lot of time cultivating and qualifying. But what happens as executive director, just the office of the executive director brings so much clout that you can actually trim down a lot of that cultivation period and qualification period. So let's just pick your 10 to 20 and close them. Okay. Now that we're done with that side note. Okay. So I want you to build your major gift time around 3 things. First is donor conversations. Second is thoughtful follow up. And third is preparing the next ask. That is where your time goes. Not endless planning, not designing complex systems, not spending 3 hours deciding which photograph belongs on the cover of a super fancy proposal. Conversations, follow up, and asks. That's it. So let's start with your donor conversations. The most important thing you can do is actually talk to donors. Major gifts, they don't really come from sitting at your desk thinking about major donors. They come from the conversations. It could be a phone call, a cup of coffee, a walk, a quick visit to your organization, a Zoom conversation, a conversation at an event for your organization or for another organization. And you don't need to have 5 donor meetings a day. You need to have 2 to 3 meaningful donor conversations every single week. That alone is going to completely revolutionize the trajectory of your fundraising. So if you have 4 to 5 hours a week, I would spend at least 2 of those hours in direct donor conversations and trying to secure those conversations. So every week, make 3 personal outreach attempts before you get swallowed by the rest of your job. Like, call 3 people, send 3 thoughtful emails, ask for 3 meetings, and do it early in the week, because as we all know, like, the week goes sideways very easily and very quickly. And you don't want to leave your donor outreach. You don't want to call people on like Friday afternoon, like after you've done all the budget issues and you've answered your board member questions and you've had all the staff meetings and the inbox has taken years off your life. Like, and you might say, here's the perfect script actually. Like, I've been thinking about you because we're making some important decisions around where the organization goes next. And I really value your perspective. Could you and I find 30 minutes to catch up? That is such a lovely voicemail or email or something to say to a donor, because as the ED, we've already established you've got street cred and clout. Also, they're going to respect your time. So they'll actually keep the meeting to probably 30 minutes and you can get to the crux of things. And you're just going to get closer to conversations, and it holds weight, right? Like, the ED is saying, hey, we're making some important decisions and I want to hear your perspective. Swoon worthy. Okay. Or another thing you could say is, Sarah, you really supported this work for a long time. And I realized that I've never really had the chance to sit down with you and connect. I want to learn more about you. I want to learn why you care about this mission. Can we get coffee next week? That's also very lovely. See, now I can't stop. Sorry. Another thing you could say is, we've reached an exciting point in our work, and I would love to show you what's ahead and just kind of get your reaction. So, are you open to coffee in the next couple weeks? You're not asking for a gift in every conversation. You're just building the relationship. But you're also not meeting just to be friendly. Every meeting should help you understand something very important about the donor. Why do they care? What change do they want to make in the world? And in the back of your head, ED, you're thinking, like, how can I match my programming to the change they want to make in the world? What frustrates them about the issues that your organization addresses? How do they make their... Hey, fundraiser, before you sign up for another fundraising conference where you might leave with a good tote bag but zero strategy to raise more money, let me invite you to Major Gift Momentum. This is my private coaching group where you'll get weekly coaching calls with me, access to my full Major Gift curriculum, and a community that's actually moving the needle. Major Gift Momentum isn't based in theory, it's based in action. Members are closing 5- and 6-figure gifts within 3 months of joining. Heather just closed a $245,000 gift. Jacelyn just closed a $212,000 campaign gift. And Georgette just got a $500,000 commitment. All within 3 months of joining Momentum. Each of these Momentum members didn't think the donor would give that much, but once I taught them my method, they are raising money at a whole new level. So would you like in, fundraiser? If you do, go to heyfundraiser.com/momentum and let's get started. Giving choices. Who else needs to be involved in their giving choices? What would make them feel confident investing more with your organization? Essentially, you're listening for the path to the gift. I once had a boss, a beloved boss, tell me nobody has ever listened themselves out of a gift. And he was right. So I know as executive director, you feel like you need to show up to this meeting and perform. Like, we got to tell them this, and we got to tell them this, and I got to show them that I know what I'm doing, and I got to do this and this. No, fundraiser. You need to talk for 40% of the time, ask really good questions, and listen for 60% of the time. Okay, the second activity we talked about is thoughtful follow up. Executive directors often have amazing donor meetings and then disappear. And and I know it's not that you don't care, it's really because you walk out of that meeting and immediately return to 57 unread emails, a program deadline, a staff issue, and a board member who urgently needs to discuss the wording of a committee charter. So the week passes, and then the second week passes. And then, like, all of a sudden, you're like, oh my gosh, it's been 2 months, and you feel like the donor relationship has gone cold. Your follow up doesn't have to be elaborate, it just needs to be prompt and personal and purposeful. And ideally, if you can, within 24 to 48 hours, send a quick note that reflects something that the donor said. Don't write like, thanks for meeting with me. Write something like, I've been thinking about what you said regarding the importance of keeping families together during a crisis. That is exactly why I believe the next phase of this work may be especially meaningful for you. That tells the donor that you listened. It also begins connecting their values to your work. And I know that they've already been connected to the work, but you as ED are saying it to them. That's where the stickiness is. And then there's always the next step. Always get the next step on the books before you leave, or in your follow up. So you could say something like, I'd love to come back and show you the specific part of the work that I think aligns with what you care most about. Would that be okay? Easy breezy. And every good donor meeting should really lead somewhere, like a second conversation, a tour, a proposal, an introduction, an invitation, an ask. Like, you don't want to leave the relationship kind of floating out there. And you don't want to end meetings by saying something like, well, I'll send you information and we're going to be in touch. That is not a good next step. That's really how good donor relationships like slowly fade away. The third activity is preparing for the next ask. At any given time, you should know which 2 to 3 people are closest to making a gift. Not everyone in your proposal, 2 to 3 people. And those are the relationships you should think about most carefully. Like, start to really ask yourself, what do I know about what matters to this person? What opportunity matches those interests? What amount is the right amount? Who should be part of that meeting? What questions might they ask? Have I received permission to ask for a gift? Which I know we haven't talked about that yet, but we will. What is the next action that gets us closer to this gift? I mean, those are really the things you want to ask yourself. You don't need 10 proposals in progress. You need one strong ask that helps you move forward. When you only have a few hours each week to devote to major gifts, sequential focus is your friend. Move 1 or 2 relationships forward, then move the next ones forward. I mean, you're not trying to manufacture major gifts from every single person today at once. You're trying to systemically move people through a cycle. Now, let's make this extremely practical. Let's say you've got 5 hours each week to focus on major gifts. Here's exactly how I would use them. During the first hour, I would review and prioritize. I would look at my top 10 to 20 prospects and identify 3 to 5 who need my attention this week. I wouldn't review the whole database. I wouldn't look at every record and update things. I wouldn't go down a rabbit hole looking for every gift someone's made since 2002. I would answer these 4 questions. Who needs to hear from me? Who needs a meeting? Who needs a follow-up? And who is closest to making a gift? Then decide on one action for each of those people. Okay, so during the second hour, I would do my outreach. I would make the calls, I would send the personal emails, and I would ask for the meetings. Please do not spend the entire hour drafting the perfect message. A warm, direct message sent today is 10 million times more valuable than a brilliant message that stays in your drafts folder for like, I don't know, 2 months. And then I would use the third and fourth hours for donor meetings and conversations. And of course, these are going to happen at different points in the week. And you don't you don't need a 2-hour lunch every time. Like a focused 30 or 45-minute conversation accomplishes a lot. So open the meeting warmly, ask good questions, listen, share what's happening, connect their interests to your mission, agree on next steps. And then I would use the fifth hour for any follow-up and ask prep. So, capture your notes, think about the important information that you need for context, prepare the next conversation, work on the next ask. I mean, this is a real major gift program. It may be lean, but it is real. Like you're identifying the right people, you're building authentic relationships and moving them toward a meaningful investment. Let's talk about what you can completely ignore, which is so fun, right? Like some people will be like, oh, you need this and you need this and you need this. Oh no, all those are distractions. I'm going to boil down all the things you don't need to pay attention to. First, I want you to completely ignore a complicated moves management system. You don't need 17 cultivation stages. You don't need to spend time debating whether someone belongs in discovery stage 2 or cultivation stage 3. Ugh, no, like keep it simple. I mean, use 5 categories, right? Like this person needs a meeting. This person I need to warm up. This person's ready for an ask. This person is in stewardship. Like that's it. Your system should help you act. If it takes more time to maintain the system than it takes to communicate with donors, your system's too complicated. Like you're not trying to impress a fundraising consultant. You're trying to raise money for your mission. So you can also ignore perfect proposals. A beautiful proposal cannot rescue a weak relationship. Okay, like sit with that for a sec. Executive directors often will delay an ask because they believe they need the most perfect, polished 12-page document with professional photographs and detailed budgets and testimonials. And then there's like a chart. Oh, and we need a cover page. And it needs to look like it came from a national organization. Oh no, you need a 1-pager, friend. Like for most of my asks, I bring a clear 1 or 2-page document that answers 4 main questions. What's the opportunity I'm presenting? Why does it matter now? What is this gift going to make possible? And how much are you asking them to invest? That's it. Like the conversation really does more of the heavy lifting. The proposal confirms the conversation. So don't hide behind a document. That's never going to fly. You can also ignore the urge to research people forever. I mean, yes, research matters and you should know the basics. You should understand their history with your organization. You should look at maybe some public information that's going to help you understand their interests or, their business background, community involvement. I mean, really capacity. You do not need to spend 6 hours researching someone you could just call. And at some point, research becomes procrastination. The best prospect research actually comes directly from talking to the donor. Like ask them questions. What causes matter most to you? Like what are your 3 favorite charities right now? How do you and your family make your giving decisions? What do you wish more people understood about this issue? What kind of impact feels most important and meaningful to you right now? Like these are things donor is going to tell you. Google can't tell you this. AI can't tell you this. And please do not treat events as your entire fundraising strategy. Like events can be useful, right? They bring people to your organization, they create some energy, they can generate annual revenue. Of course, an event is not a major gift strategy. So the other thing I want you to ignore is spending 100 hours planning an event and then tell yourself you do not have time to meet with the 3 people that could actually make a transformational gift. Oh, no, no, no. So the event, if you're going to do an event, that the event is the beginning, the follow-up is the major gift strategy. So after an event, choose 5 people that you need to contact personally and call them. Ask what they thought, invite them into a deeper conversation. Don't send every single person who came the same thank you email and like immediately move on to planning the next event. And finally, ignore the voice that's telling you that you have to know exactly what to say before you reach out. You're not always going to have the perfect words. You might feel awkward. You might worry that the donor is busy or that you're going to, piss the donor off, or you're afraid you're bothering them. You might even wonder whether you've cultivated them long enough. Like you might tell yourself you need to wait until after the next board meeting, after the next event, after the next audit, after the next program launches, or after life becomes less chaotic. Life will never become less chaotic. Like you're the executive director, there's always going to be something. So you don't need the perfect words. You just need a clear purpose. I'd like to get to know you better. That's clear. I would value your advice. Dreamy. I want to show you what your giving has made possible. Swoon. I believe there's an opportunity that may speak to what you care about. Fantastic. Or, like, would it be okay if we talked about a gift next time we came together? Those words work. Okay, now we have to talk about your board, because many executive directors lose their limited fundraising hours trying to convince every board member to become a major gift fundraiser. Stop doing that. Not every board member is going to ask for money. And frankly, not every board member should ask for money. Like your job is to identify the few board members who can help open doors, build credibility, help you tell a story, thank donors, and maybe participate in an ask. Like give them specific jobs. Like I would never say to a board, I need everyone to help with fundraising. I would say something like, Tom, would you be willing to invite Dinesh to join us for a tour? Or Derek, would you call these 2 donors and thank them? Or Denise, would you join me for this meeting and share why you serve on the board? Or Kendra, would you introduce me to the Johnson family? Like specific assignments are easier to accept and frankly, easier to complete. You don't need all 15 board members actively fundraising. You need 2 or 3 people that are just going to consistently help you. Like work with the willing. Stop spending your precious energy and like life dragging the unwilling. And here's one of the most important things I can tell you. Protect your major gift time. Put these hours on your calendar. Don't say, "Oh, I'll work on major gifts when I have time," because the time is never going to come. Like the rest of the organization will consume every available minute, as you know, executive director. So major gift work has to become an appointment. Like block 2 hours on Tuesday afternoon, block 2 hours on Thursday morning. Schedule your donor conversations before your calendar fills, and treat that time as seriously as you would treat a board meeting. You would not casually cancel a board meeting because your inbox was full. So don't casually cancel your donor work either. Like, of course, genuine emergencies are going to pop up, but not everything is an emergency. And sometimes urgent work is simply louder than important work. Major gifts are important work. They create the revenue that may eventually give you more staff, stronger programs, healthier reserves, and frankly, fewer emergencies. So if you're the executive director with, 4 to 8 hours a week to focus on major gifts, here's what I want you to remember. Focus on 10 to 20 Go deep and close them. Have 2 to 3 meaningful donor conversations every single week without fail. Always know the next step in the relationship and try to move, 2 to 3 people toward a clear ask. Everything else is secondary. You don't need to contact everyone. You don't need a perfect proposal. You don't need a complicated systems. You don't need to attend every networking event. You do not need every board member to become a fundraiser. And you don't need to post on social media 7 days a week and call that like donor cultivation and stewardship. You need relationships, consistency, focus. So here's your assignment for this week. I want you to choose 15 prospects. Then I want you to select 3 from that list who need to hear from you. Then I want you to contact them before you do anything else. Not after the staff meeting, not when you find a free moment, not after you check your inbox one more time. Contact them. One of those conversations may lead to the gift that gives your organization actual breathing room that you need. But it's only going to happen if you begin. So what better day to begin than today? And you don't necessarily need more hours. Like you need to protect the 4 to 8 hours that you have each week and do the right things during that time. And once you've identified the right donors, you've built a relationship, you've protected time for major gifts, the next question is usually, when do I actually ask? And how much do I ask for? And exactly what should I say? And how do I make the conversation feel natural instead of awkward? And what do I do if a donor hesitates or pushes back or says they need to think about it? And that is exactly what we cover in the Ask Workshop. The Ask Workshop is a 4-hour virtual workshop designed to give you everything you need to confidently move from like a good donor relationship to a clear, thoughtful solicitation. We talk about how to know when a donor is ready. We talk about how to choose the right gift amount. We walk through how to structure the conversation and what to say when it's time to ask. We talk through how to sit confidently in the silence instead of rushing in to rescue the donor or yourself. And then we spend quite a bit of time on objections. What do we say if a donor hesitates? What if they say, I need to think about it? What if they need to talk to somebody else? What if they question the amount? Or what if they just say no? Like I have taken more than 20 years of experience, education, donor conversations, mistakes, wins, lessons learned, and packed it into a 4-hour practical afternoon. So it is more than 20 years of major gift education in 4 hours. I don't want you to spend the decades that it took me to figure it out on your own. You just need the process, the right language, and the confidence. So if you're ready to stop wondering, when is it time to ask, and start walking into these conversations super prepared, join me for the next Ask Workshop. So you can find all the details and register at the link below. And I'm hoping that this podcast inspires you to build a major gift program that you as executive director can sustain. Keep it small, keep it personal, keep it moving forward, and I'll see you next week. Fundraiser, thank you for being here. This work you do, it matters. You are the bridge between generosity and impact, and don't let anyone, including the hard weeks, convince you otherwise. If today's episode gave you something useful, please pass it along. One share, one text to a colleague, one review on Apple Podcasts. That's how this show reaches the people who need it most. Come find me at heyfundraiser.com, and I'll see you next Friday.